Welcome to the Axe Brother Podcast, where we discover horror movies every week. I'm Gabe Edwards, with my friends John Mule,
Hey there.
Lauren Reedy,
Hi.
and Josh Rosa.
Hi.
Now, John Mule, who did that wonderful intro for us?
That was Spoke Nest, friends of ours, Daryl and Adrian. Great band. You should check them out at bandcamp.com, and that is their song Gone.
All right.
Cool.
I like that song.
Love it.
Well, this week we're covering The Fog, which was John's pick from last week.
John Carpenter.
John Edwards picked John Mule picked The Fog by John Carpenter. John,
Yes.
how do you I don't know, go ahead.
John Carpenter, classic. I've never seen a movie that I didn't like by John Carpenter until
Have you really seen the Halloween films?
the first one. Yeah.
That's it?
I've seen the first one, and I've seen... Did the Rob Zombie ones count? I've seen those.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I'm familiar with Michael Myers. Last time we were here, we talked about the first horror movie we saw, and I seem to remember our father watching H2O with us, which was like Halloween.
Maybe with you.
Maybe Jamie Lee Curtis was in it.
Do you recall that he watched T2 with you and not me?
Yeah, that was my first rated R movie, Terminator 2, which is a great place to start with rated
And
R
we
movies.
had our old house, the stairs, you'd go up and you could look down through that little triangle
Yeah.
and see the TV.
Yeah.
And I watched the scene where the black guy was in there and he pulled off his arm. And
Yeah, that scene was scary. That's all. That stairwell, that stairwell where you can look down and see what's on TV. That's also how Dad caught me watching Scrambled Cinemax.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, it's getting.
I
steamy.
remember those days.
Of course.
Like porn in the woods. All right. So we watched The Fog. Oh, no. Well,
We should definitely go over like the premise of this movie because there's more premise than the last movie.
now I see a page of notes in front of you,
Oh yeah.
Miss Reedy.
This isn't about that though.
Oh, well, do you have a
These are
premise?
just-
Do you have... I can run down the premise unless someone has a really well-written, laid-out premise.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I'll just read some notes I took. This is one of those movies that unfolds. I write weird shit happens, arrow Y, and then in parentheses paranormal activity. Because it just seems like... And let's take the film Paranormal Activity. Things like wind and fog are just kind of the tools of something. But in this film, the fog is actually a character.
Is the fog a character or is the fog
it-
a vessel for the characters?
Yeah, I think it's exactly what you just
That's-
said it wasn't.
Oh,
Okay.
This is the
heavy.
Insult Podcast.
I think because that was my main beef with this movie was I thought that the fog was gonna be the bad guy.
Yeah.
The fog wasn't really.
This
No.
segment is called Lauren Got Beef.
You just got beefed.
You got beefed.
The
Well,
end of
brought
the
to you by
segment.
Burger King.
So yeah,
That sounds great.
this is my initial thought, but at the end of the movie, it's like, so this movie is just incorrectly named, right?
No.
No.
There is in
No.
fact fog in it.
I mean, so should it be called the ocean because there's an ocean in it? Like,
Well, here's one thing. The first couple scenes, we have a campfire scene, old Catholic church, lighthouse, a hitchhiker scene, and a haunted pirate ship. Right from the bat, like those are all great places to have a horror movie, but there's like too much. Like this movie was spread so thin, I felt. I couldn't even like what.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Who's the fog after? Why?
all right. Well,
I feel like you could have taken the element of fog out of this movie and it still would have been fine and just called it like the haunted pirates that kill people.
The haunted pirates that kill people.
Lepers,
Like,
actually.
it
Are they
doesn't-
lepers?
yeah.
Yeah,
Get the
they're.
fuck out.
well,
I know.
okay, I
Did
gotta
you watch this movie,
I
John?
watched it last week.
I have a confession.
Lepers.
I was super annoyed with this film. I enjoy a certain kind of bad movie. There's bad funny, and then there's bad just this is a pile of shit, which is kind of what I felt about this film.
Wow, but there were moments that I thought were great.
I really liked this movie.
So I kind of checked out, and then at the end, I at one point I looked up, I was like, oh, the fog is really this thing, and the gold cross and all this stuff. So Can someone kind of patch that ending for me?
Well,
Well,
okay, go ahead. Josh.
I mean, I was gonna say I really liked the whole movie until the end. Like, I thought the end was the weakest point.
You enjoyed this movie, you watched it, and you were just like, I'm fucking all about this movie?
Yeah, it was fun.
I liked it too.
Oh, it's gang up on Gabe. Go
Like,
ahead.
you have the awesome gory kills at the beginning, and you're just like,
I thought
holy
the-
shit, he just stabbed his eyes out. And like,
Okay, was it gory though? Because I was watching it with a friend and they're like, "There's no blood." And
well,
there
okay, yeah,
wasn't.
they're
Lauren should be
true.
the judge of gory because Lauren does not like gory. I
Yeah,
would say.
True.
I think
okay.
that's probably why I liked
Gore
this
is
movie.
the wrong term, but the kills were violent at least.
Okay, here's a fun fact about that though, is that they actually went back in and like re-edited it to be more violent. Like it wasn't violent enough.
I wrote here this movie should be called Fog with Ninjas.
Oh my god, they were ninjas.
So the ninjas are
Mummy ninjas.
traveling with the fog.
Surf Ninjas 4, The Fog.
Which, okay, I keep going back and forth because I don't know how to critique this film, having watched it in hindsight, or is this truly fog that is the enemy? So are you guys telling me that who is it? The lepers? Are we saying that?
Yeah.
So it was.
That's the best way you can describe them as lepers.
That's
you
who
remember
they are in the film.
What happened?
I told you, I totally checked that out.
This is,
Oh
this is
my
the haunted
God.
pirate ship. Let's take us back to the
yeah,
haunted
I feel
pirate
like
ship.
Josh should
Okay.
explain what happened.
Go ahead.
So the premise is there's this town in what's the bay called?
Antonio
Antonio
Bay,
Bay.
which is made up.
That sounds like a great actor, like a
and
sexy actor.
The history. Okay, so the film takes place on like the 100th anniversary of this event happening in the bay where this colony of lepers were relocating from an island to the bay.
I thought it was the other way around.
just to put
No.
this, okay, real quick, just to put it in perspective, this was written 2 years after the first Halloween. Halloween was 78. This is 80. Halloween 2 is 81. And there's something about this film that, for those who have seen it, really reminds me of Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, which is kind of a enjoyable film, but not really a true Michael Myers film at all.
Right.
And it's kind of famously bad.
Right.
Felt like that. You guys tell me this movie, you didn't
Wait.
watch this movie and think it was just bad?
But you didn't let Josh finish.
I know,
his-
but go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, I was explaining the movie to you since everyone else here watched it and knows what happened.
I watched the film.
Josh, please finish.
I have
Uh,
notes.
The lepers relocating.
Okay, so the founders of this town conspire against the boat of lepers because even though they feel sorry for them, they're like disgusted by them and they're like, we don't want a leper colony in our bay. So they set up a decoy fire which makes their ship crash on the rocks. They all drown in the ocean, and that's who is your fog ninjas coming back.
And one of the
for revenge.
conspirators was
It's lepers that drowned on this
priest, right?
Right.
Yes. So I have are we to assume that these priests are not Catholic because there is like a lineage of them?
Well, it was just one priest.
But then it like
He's family. He's descended from.
so they're not. They have not taken a vow of chastity.
Yeah, that's. This
Oh,
film
yeah.
sucks, guys.
They could be Episcopal or Lutheran.
Even you describe the plot like, oh, they're the ghosts of these lepers. It's like, yeah, it just seems boring. Like, just keep digging, John.
I
like,
see. I think the premise is good, which is why I enjoyed it.
Uh-huh.
And I think the scenes in the church with Hal Holbrook, who's the actor, plays the priest. I thought that would have made a really good movie. It was all the other stuff, like the radio show and the Jamie Lee Curtis whole thing. I didn't fully understand like why she was hanging out.
And
Right.
Janet Leigh, yeah.
Janet Leigh, her mom from Psycho.
Psycho.
Of course. And
Yeah, maybe this is because I don't watch horror movies, but I feel like the
until
whole
now,
until
this
now.
podcast, yeah.
But the whole like, I get that on the surface, like the fact that the 100th year anniversary would bring back this kill would bring it back, but why? Like why?
Yeah, I didn't understand that either, but
Well, it's
If you don't
because
think
obviously
about it-
it's the what's the 100th anniversary? It's a big day. For
They're-
them.
they were
they've
like-
been powering up over
They
I
want
know.
a party. They want a
They're
party.
like waiting. They're like 50th. Nah, we're gonna
Yeah.
wait another 50 years.
They were waiting for this. They were,
Yeah, well, so can we agree that the force in this film is supernatural, right? Because they're over 100 years old. They're dead. they have leprosy, all these things.
Yeah,
They
I don't think
drown,
think
yes.
there's a decent scientific explanation for what's going on.
So here's what irks me. Whether it's supernatural, whether it is indeed fog, which we know it's not by the end of the film, the fact that this thing can't get into a locked door is bothersome. Because then I'm like, oh, that's why I think it's a fog ninja. Because it's like sitting here shaking. It's like if it's fog, it could just go under the door or through a keyhole. If it's a fog ninja, I see the problem. But if it's a supernatural leper, then it should be able to.
The fog is their vehicle.
Yeah. Fine. Then why? So a door is still too much for this thing.
No, because they are physical creatures who walk through the fog. And yes, a door, if it's a physical creature, a door would cause a problem.
Is it a physical creature?
Yeah, their eyes light up and they use swords and
But
shit.
they don't they can disappear, no?
No.
Well, they do disappear, but she, I forget the character's name and the actress's name, but the radio host
Adrian
fights
Barr.
back against them at the very end, and she like inflicts damage to them.
She like kicks them when she's on top of the roof thing.
Yeah.
I think, John, you bring up a great point. I did think during the
course I
film,
do.
how did this priest descend from priests?
Yeah.
It's a line of priests, which they're either not Catholic or they're, really Catholic.
Right.
Sorry. Too
Don't
far.
insult Catholics in front of Lauren, please.
Lauren, are you Catholic? No. Yeah, so there's a lot to talk about. I don't know. Should we get into it? Like other aspects of the movie?
Is there more to talk about?
Oh, there is, because I want to know what people thought. Okay, Jamie Lee Curtis shows up, classic from horror movies.
She was in Carpenter's Halloween.
Carpenter's Halloween. She's hitchhiking.
Okay.
Christmas with the
Yes.
Cranks.
Can we get
was,
into this?
This was the first note I wrote down, which is
I knew this was gonna come
she
up.
She
would
is-
not sleep with that truck driver.
Okay, but
I
even,
knew this was gonna come
no,
up.
but here's the thing. Even before, first of all, Jamie Lee, Gabe and I, Jamie Lee's beautiful.
Not in this movie though.
I thought she was.
Oh.
I normally don't.
You are wrong about that, Miss Reedy.
I normally do not find her attractive. In this movie, I did. But here's what I
You
missed.
don't find her attractive normally?
Not in general. No.
Trading Places?
No.
Mm.
Let's move
You
on.
guys are all crazy.
She gets picked up in a truck, and then all of a sudden she's in bed with a guy. I missed the chemistry. Like I missed the
Okay,
them
this
flirting.
is the craziest part, which is why I got so annoyed. It was because he like picks her up, and then she kind of starts like flirting with him, and then her line was like, "Are you like other truck drivers or something like that?" Or,
No.
Didn't she say, "Are you weird"?
Yeah, that's
yeah.
And he
Like-
says, I'm weird. I am weird or something like
I
that.
thought that meant like, "Are you into pot" or something like that.
I thought that meant like, "Are you a creepy guy?"
Yeah.
But then he was like, "No, I'm not." And she kind of alludes to the fact that like, "Oh, good, you'll sleep with me because all these other truck drivers."
I didn't pick up
no.
on that.
You have it wrong.
No, he
Oh.
says he is weird.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the setup. Is you think she's asking like, "Are you weird?" Because I don't want to like get into some
Weird shit.
weird,
Right.
dangerous shit hitchhiking. And he's like, "Yes, I am weird," and that's kind of like the
Then she says,
connection that they
"Good."
make. Yeah, it's like
But I don't have a problem with them sleeping together. I have a problem with like, where did they?
Yeah, it was-
Where
it
were
was
they
abrupt.
interested? They were
It
never
was-
interested in each other, and I thought the whole time that he was twice
Where
her
was
age.
what? He didn't even court her. Like, how did
Right,
this happen?
you know? No, but even in the truck, I didn't feel like they had chemistry. I didn't feel like they were
No.
flirting. But and was he not like twice her age? That's kind of what I thought.
I don't know.
These are not the big problems of this film.
It bothered me. It was off.
I don't know. I can't really recall how old I think the truck driver looked. It didn't stand out.
And then they're just hanging out for the weekend, chilling,
Yeah.
going on boats.
I'm sure
looking
I
for
fell
dead
asleep
bodies.
at least once during this film.
How can you do the podcast if you fell asleep during the movie?
Gabe, this is your podcast, okay? Are you gonna watch these movies, or are you gonna
It's
sleep
not
through
Gabe
them?
podcast. It's Axe Brother podcast. If the movie's bad and it puts me to sleep, I don't know what to tell you. I sometimes the fact that I think certain films that are famous horror movies are really not that great. They're iconic. They deliver certain characters, but they're kind of more active in our imaginations than they are on the screen. And like if you, I don't know. I don't want to get a bunch of reactions from this. So.
One more thing about Jamie Lee and the truck driver. So they're hanging out, right? They're together for the weekend, whatever. They end up at a coroner's office where someone has been killed, and all of a sudden the body that they're looking at the coroner's office comes back to life. At what point does the truck driver decide, I'm not going to hang out with this girl anymore? Because
She's
it seems
only
like
trouble.
stuff is following her.
Did you guys feel like
Well, that's what she like kind of alludes to. Like, am I the one causing all this stuff to happen? And I think he like knows that something else is going on because
Why does he think that? Hit all the windows in his truck blow out. Then they have sex.
yeah, but then they
Then a
find
body
their
comes
friends.
back to life.
No, they find their friend's boat first,
Uh,
and they find the bodies. They notice all the dials are broken, just like his truck.
the body falls on her
All
out
the
of a closet.
stuff is rusted. He knows that something weird's going on, and it's not like necessarily tied to her.
Because how could it be?
Okay, I read that I think they like someone took this movie and made it into a book, and in the book it was like every person that died was related to one of the original 6 that like sunk the
That
ship.
makes more sense.
I know, that's what I said. I was like, that makes
instead it's
sense.
just the people of the town?
And instead of just random people, like those random guys on the ship that got killed at the beginning, like I was like, if they had tied that loose end like that, because the priest dying, that made sense. But the whole idea that there was like 6, like specifically 6 were supposed to die, but there were just random people in the town, like.
And Hal Holbrook is the 6th priest in line in those 100 years, right?
Oh, was he?
That's what I picked up on.
Guys, I'm here for you, but I don't know. You have to take the lead on this one. 'Cause
You really have nothing left to say about this movie.
Gabe
I
does not care.
let me look at my notes.
got okay.
Fog
So,
with ninjas.
Another again. I feel like this movie is spread out really thin. You've got Jamie Lee and truck driver. You got Hal Holbrook with Janet Leigh.
I have a stomach pounder and a Coke. Anyone else write that down?
Yeah.
Oh, I
What
think
was
I
that?
did write that down.
I missed that.
The son asks his mom if he can have a stomach pounder and a Coke, and she's like, after lunch. And you're like, what the fuck is a stomach pounder?
They never mentioned it.
They
do they?
never
Weird
go
stuff
back
happens to the kid and his nanny. He finds a
Yeah.
gold coin that turns into driftwood on the beach.
Yeah,
And he tells
that's
his
related
mom-
to the leper ship.
Okay.
The
Okay, wait,
treasure.
wait,
That's
wait.
the treasure that's there.
Now, I remember the priest has the gold cross. Did
That
they
was
s-
melted down coins.
Right.
Yeah.
So he was returning that so that they'll go away, right? Is that
Yeah.
what they wanted?
But they hadn't killed 6 people yet, so that's why he died.
Okay.
It made it seem like, oh yeah, like if we give you the gold coins, like never mind, we're done. But then that's when they came back and killed him because they really just wanted to kill 6 people.
So the priest finds a book, a diary in the wall, and this diary has lines in it that were made for heavy metal albums. And some of them were so great.
Ooh, can you read them?
Did you
Of course.
record some of this?
Well, let's see. Midnight till 1 belongs to the dead. Good Lord, deliver us.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful line. The other one was, I am the thief and God's temple is the tomb of gold.
Yeah.
I think that was towards the end.
That was
Wonderful, wonderful line. As usual in a John Carpenter movie, awesome piano synth music. I
Oh,
was into
yeah.
it. I liked the music
I
a
was
lot.
into it too.
That was actually the one thing that I wanted to talk about was
The soundtrack.
not just the soundtrack, but more specifically the like electronic little scores that were throughout. I liked them so much that I waited until the credits to see like who did this music.
That's
and
rad.
a lot of the music was performed by an orchestra, but there was one composer who I had no idea who he was who did all of the electronic stuff.
Ah.
And I looked him up, and he's done electronic music for Black Sabbath,
Nice.
Devo, bunch of other people.
And do you have his name?
I do. I wrote
You're
it
gonna
down.
have to send it to me because I liked the music a lot.
I'm
Yeah.
looking this up here.
Dan Wyman.
Dan Wyman.
That name's familiar. I'm looking up here. It says goes to the diary. When Father Malone, this is a facts about the film. When Father Malone first discovers the journal, he glances at the title page, then flips to an open page of text that is partially blocked and seen only for a split second. The visible portion reads, and it's cut off at the beginning. My college education to work writing dumb shit in this fucking movie props being one. It's time to bring in the words guide for the big tits, tattoos, and shaved beavers. I know horny CKEDs would go some of that. So
What? What is that from? I missed what you were talking about.
that's what's written in the diary. They just paid some guy, I guess, like, here, just write
Shut
stuff
up.
in here. And it just says like, fuck this movie, it's bullshit. Like,
Oh, is that legend, or have you actually seen the
Gabe's
page?
just reading trivia off of IMDb right now.
guys, they do not make this stuff up.
Boring.
I'm trying to have something to offer for this episode.
So you're saying you have nothing still?
I am shocked that you guys like this movie.
I like now. Here's a question. I feel like part of me likes it because it's a John Carpenter movie.
It's a hipster movie, bro. Go ahead.
I would watch it again.
You would watch it again?
I mean, not today. I watched it last week. but-
Reedy and Rosa, respond. Would you watch it again?
I might watch it again someday.
Yeah, I might
Just-
watch it again.
Yeah, I mean, that's the part I enjoyed was like the build up and the setup of everything.
Well, one thing I'm interested in exploring horror films, because as we said in the last podcast, a lot of us kind of came to these films slowly, maybe a little bit later in life. I'm kind of interested in figuring out what I like and why I like it, and I don't know. I just figured this is a sort of film that is kind of famous for being stupid, and which there's plenty of, and that certainly has its place in cinema history and stuff. But yeah, if this is considered a good film, this is not the kind of film I dig. I
I
don't know.
don't think it's a good film. I think I saw that Ebert gave it 2 stars when it first came out. But I think that you can tell that John Carpenter is he knows how to do a story, even though he didn't do it well in here. Like there was kind of what John was saying, there were so many elements that if they had been fine-tuned a little more, it would have been interesting, but they kind of just threw a bunch of supernatural shit into a blender and was like, look, this makes sense and it's creepy.
Mhm.
But I think it had elements of it that could have been interesting
Because
or were interesting, but they didn't. It just didn't fine tune it enough.
yeah, my initial thought, as the film gets delivered to you, you think it's just fog is the enemy, and then
I still say no one thinks that, but go ahead.
you initially think that. The other thing, you go to watch a film called The Fog, and fog starts coming in on people. You think, oh, this is about fog that apparently kills you in some weird way, right? Do you not think that?
No,
I
You-
thought that.
Yeah, you're being difficult, John.
I don't think so.
But I mean, that only lasts through the first 10, 15 minutes of the film
Yeah.
until you see the.
Well, that's the thing. You see, people come out of it, right?
Yeah.
And so that's when I was thinking, are we supposed to believe that the fog can materialize into a ninja or something, you know?
You're not supposed to believe any of it.
Well, you are.
We can get into that later.
What are you talking about? You're not supposed
What
to
do you
believe
mean? Are
it.
we supposed to believe? It
Grasping
is-
the reality of the film. Because I know Carpenter has some hits and misses, and I'm like, okay, so is he suggesting that the fog can kind of materialize into anything that ends up killing you? Because, yeah, when it gets to the point when the fog has to kill someone, I could see that being kind of difficult to execute.
I think we're way off.
But yeah, I think it's weird to. I don't know. Does any horror movie really stand up if you not have loopholes? Is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
Silence of the Lambs.
What's wrong with that?
But a horror movie that has supernatural elements.
Okay.
I don't know. Are you saying the holes are supposed to be there?
I feel like there's what's the phrase? You have to kind of.
Suspension of
Yeah,
disbelief.
there has to be some element of that in every single horror movie.
I don't know.
Requires that.
Okay, so we talked last time about The Exorcist, and I think one of the reasons I find The Exorcist so terrifying is because I grew up with a Christian childhood.
Right.
And so there's aspects of that movie that scare the shit out of me.
Still?
Because, that's a good question. I don't know.
Because that's a film. I've read the book, but I've seen the film a number of times, and there's something about that movie that's so good to me.
I love it. I love the movie. It still frightened me the first time I saw it not because it was so ridiculous, but because that was presented to me as real growing up.
Uh-huh.
So that scared me, that aspect of it. There was never a point in my life, though, where ninjas would come out of fog.
But I'm not saying I was scared. That's why I was like, I was willing to go there. I was willing to accept this as, okay, like, this is what he's presenting us, even if it's really unorthodox or kind of stupid. Like, let's go on this ride, because I'm not going to fight the movie and say, no, people can't materialize out of fog. I was just like, well, that's what this is.
But I can't believe, I feel like
it's
you're
hokey,
saying,
but whatever.
I feel like you're saying, like, in your hatred for this movie, there were no characters or anything that you thought were interesting or sort of worth paying attention to. Nothing like kept your attention the whole time.
No.
Okay. Wow. I still say Hal Holbrook as the priest. I think that whole sequence was awesome, and the end. I loved the ending. The ending, I loved it when he walked into the sanctuary, and like can't believe that he survived, and turns out he didn't survive. He's like, he asked the question, like, how come they spared me? He turns around and they're standing right there, even though we thought it was all over, and he gets killed.
So is that your shining light?
That would be my shining light. That was the sixth. He was the sixth person to be killed, the sixth priest.
Yeah. What about you guys? Did you have a shining light?
Gabe is dumbfounded.
Nothing.
Gabe is dumbfounded.
Well, wait. What about Jamie Lee Curtis being hot?
I was gonna say, honestly, all I could think about was like, well, I was happy to see Jamie Lee Curtis. I kind of like the fact that the fog couldn't open a door.
That was pretty funny. But people willingly open doors left and right, no matter what time of night. No matter that like weird things that were happening.
The nanny. Why does the nanny open the door? They're safe inside the lighthouse or whatever. Well, I'm just gonna open this door. That was the scream at
I
the
don't know.
screen.
I liked watching. I think I was correct in that I was watching this film the way I would watch Citizen Kane. I'm sure there's Citizen Kane and
Citizen Kane is fucking boring, by the way. I don't know.
But I know, but there's plenty of technical things that are like really revolutionary and really interesting. If you were to watch, I remember in high school I watched a bit of Citizen Kane with the Roger Ebert commentary on it, and the whole time he's just pointing out techniques that were done. And here they dug into the floor, and here they used a ceiling that you could see through when you went above it, but below it you couldn't. All that stuff made the film enjoyable to watch. I don't know if this has any of those things, but
I guarantee it doesn't have any of those things.
But it certainly is something. It's like, well, yeah, I've been on that ride, and I can say, yeah, it's really not for me. And it's kind of, I don't know. I just think it's famously, it is what I thought it was. Whether it is or not for everyone else, for me, it is kind of this famously bad thing.
The character that I feel is really central to the movie, but I don't understand why she's there, is Stevie Wayne.
The Nightbird or whatever?
She owns the radio station. She implies that she's the only person who can be on the radio, which doesn't make sense to me. Like, she's the only person who works at the radio station, so that she'd have to be there 24/7. She's the one with the son. At one point, she comes in. She sleeps at night, I guess, after her radio show. Comes in in the morning, and there's a tape playing that's been playing on the radio. And this was another one of those moments where I thought the lines were so badass, but the line was, the tape says, "Something that one lives with like an albatross around the neck. No, more like a millstone, a plumbing stone. By God, damn them all." Boom! And then there's a huge explosion in the radio station. And I just thought that piece of writing was
What, that was the radio promo?
No, I think it was, again, something supernatural that played on the radio.
Yeah, I think that was the captain's
captain,
voice.
okay. But I don't understand. Her
his
character,
name.
Stevie Wayne, I don't feel like it added anything to the movie.
No.
Well, there is isn't there a famous female broadcaster who did like this, like at night kind of, I don't know if it was romantic radio, but because her name is the Night Wing in this. And isn't there like a Night Bird in anyone out there?
Nightbirds, great punk band from New
Right.
Jersey. Is that what you're saying?
I think it's that was top.
That's what they were going after.
But the thing that you read reminded me of, I was talking to Josh about this earlier, the Edgar Allan Poe quote
At the beginning,
and I've gone over it in my head since then. The quote is all that we see or seem but a dream within a dream. Maybe I'm just I don't get it.
Did you find out what that's from?
No. I mean, I'm sure I could look it up easily, but
Yeah.
I just got what the quote was. But
I've heard that quote before. I don't know what it had to do with this movie. Is
I
that what you're
want to
saying?
know. Yeah, like
Yeah.
you would think that it's like
At
the
the end,
first
you thought someone was
frame.
gonna wake up and be like, "Oh,
I feel like John
all
Carpenter
a
put that at the
dream.
beginning and then made this movie like in order, and then at the end was like, oh, we forgot about the quote. Fuck.
Yeah, that's kind of how it seemed to me. Too.
Oh, damn. We're gonna use that quote. Oh well.
Well, keep it. Just keep it.
Slap a Poe quote on your
Slap a
horror
Poe
movie.
quote.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm going to put that on a bumper sticker.
Slap a Poe quote.
And it's good. I think my main takeaway was I want to live in a lighthouse, though.
Ooh, yeah.
Lauren, did you have a shining light?"
That was it.
That was it.
The lighthouse.
all the lighthouse scenes were so beautiful, and I just wanted to live in her house. The radio disc jockey person.
I want to live in a stone church. That was my takeaway.
Okay, I think we're not going to do this, especially as we develop and have more shows, but I would much rather watch Hatchet than this film. What do you guys think
Oh,
about
no
that?
way.
I felt the opposite way.
Yeah, me too.
Well, there you go.
I feel like Hatchet was, you know, exactly what you're getting. I feel like if we watched The Fog again, we would have more to talk about. We could dissect it a little further.
If you guys pick The Fog again, I'm going to be upset.
Got to do the remake, right?
Oh gosh.
I can pick whatever I want to pick.
You can do
It's
whatever you want.
true.
That's the way this show works. Even though you guys said this is my podcast.
Yeah,
but
it
it's
is.
not.
All right.
Wait,
Well-
did we talk about where the name came from?
Oh,
Axe
maybe.
Brothers.
Are we done with the fog now, or?
Are we done talking about
I
The Fog?
seemed like we were wrapping up.
I'm very much done with The Fog.
Gabe's been done since the beginning.
Do we have to talk about the name?
Well, I think it's interesting.
Well, the
Lauren
name
didn't-
Axe Brother does come from our love for horror movies and spooky things, does it not?
Yeah, indirectly.
Lauren is not actually an axe brother because she doesn't have an axe
Because
tattoo.
she's female.
Not that we actually refer to ourselves as that anyway, but you're acting like that's a thing that we like call each other Axe Brothers.
So
That's
who was,
what I call us.
So
That's
who
how
was-
that's how
my
he signs
God.
all his letters.
Axe Brother Gabe. Who was the first to get the tattoo?
Josh and I.
Josh and Gabe got tattoos of the axe from The Shining.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then our friend John Whitney got a famously bad version of it,
Yeah,
right?
it's all shitty.
It's all
Yeah.
pixelated. But again, got the axe from The Shining. And then
And John got a cartoon version of the
I
axe.
did. I went and got a version, and my tattoo artist interpreted it very.
Do you like it?
I like it.
I
I
like
like it because I like you guys.
Lauren, would you consider getting this tattoo?
Yeah, maybe.
Lauren, do
I-
you have tattoos?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a tattoo.
So axe,
Yep,
your neck,
right under my boob.
Nice.
Perfect.
boob tattoo.
Chop it off.
All right, what are we doing next week?
All right, so next week, I believe Josh is gonna pick it.
I thought I was.
Yeah.
We're doing it every 2 weeks, right? We keep saying next week, next time.
Folks,
Next show.
next
whenever
show.
That's gonna be.
Josh, what do you got for us?
Okay, so I picked this because it's kind of embarrassing to admit as someone who supposedly is a horror fan, but I have never seen Suspiria by Dario Argento.
I've never heard
I've
of
never heard of
Suspiria.
that. I mean, that's not surprising for me. But.
Well, let's see.
Okay,
Who is
Suspiria
Dario?
Wait,
is from-
why are you embarrassed to admit that? What?
it's kind of canonical horror.
When did it come out?
1977.
Yes. Italian horror director Dario Argento.
Is it in English? Am I gonna have to put the captions on?
Lauren
Okay.
can't
You know,
read.
it's
by the way.
probably I don't actually know. It's probably dubbed in English.
You know, every
but-
time I see Lauren, she's reading a book, so I'm kind of confused why she's frustrated at subtitles right now. I know Dario Argento from the movie Juno. They talk about him, right?
Do they? I don't know.
So,
Anyway, moving on.
Josh, tell
That's
us.
your favorite
tell us
movie?
what
It's
you
my favorite horror movie.
tell us what
Juno.
you know about this film, and may I say, this seems like something Josh would pick. Go ahead.
I mean, that's why I picked it. Is I don't know hardly anything about it. It's just one of those movies that's been on my list forever, and it's just like, why haven't I seen this yet?
I'm actually
So-
nervous to pick movies on this show because I'm afraid Josh is just gonna be annoyed. He's gonna have to rewatch a bunch of stuff.
I'll rewatch whatever. I don't care.
He'd rewatch The Fog.
No, I guess I don't feel bad anymore. So, do you know the premise of this film or anything?
Not really. No.
Suspiria.
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 I've seen the trailer, and it has a cool trailer because they keep going Suspiria over and over again.
like that.
You should watch it.
I like that. No fog ninjas.
So, John, do you have any? This is one of those ones where I don't think many of us have much to say. Are you nervous? This would be scary.
No, I'll be all right. 77. I think any movie made in the 70s has, I'm interested. 70s is the golden era, and Italians make good movies, so let's do it.
I do have the same feeling. I'm not trying to put it all on you, but you do have this concern that particularly Josh will pick scary movies.
There are definitely movies out there that I will not mention because I do not want to watch them, but I'm not concerned about this one. Let's do it.
Okay.
I think Josh chose this because there's also a Norwegian black metal band by the same name.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
I'm gonna YouTube that.
Oh, it's spelled differently, I think.
Well, as long as we're doing two, does Reedy want to do hers also, and we'll just do this next week?
No, we mentioned that at the recording of the Suspiria.
We got to pretend next week to next
Yes.
time. All right.
Does Reedy have another movie lined up?
She
Yes.
does.
No.
I say we do it next show. People got to listen to hear the next movie.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Is that it?
I guess.
Do you have a sign out?
Cool.
What's our email address for people listening?
Our email address is axebrotherpodcast@gmail.com, and that's axe with an E, axebrotherpodcast@gmail.com. Anybody have any plugs? Any websites? I know Josh just made his public, yeah?
Nope.
Yes, you did, you liar.
I did, but I don't need to talk about that on this podcast.
Wow. Okay.
Look it up, folks. It's Bone Dust something or other.
Yeah,
He
you
makes
won't find it.
spooky art.
I love his art.
My website's GabrielDEdwards.com. I make art as well. John? Is there something funny,
I
Josh?
mostly drink beer at home and play with my dog.
Right.
Read Razor Cake magazine, please.
Reedy, what do you got?
If you live in LA, you can come watch me play dodgeball. I'm just kidding. That's not my plug.
Reedy does play dodgeball, though.
Yeah.
I got nothing.
Anybody? Well, I guess that's all we have to say.
Cool. Thanks for listening.
Awesome. This has been fun. Thank you all.
If you have any ideas on how we can make this better, and
Which I
maybe
don't
less
think is
annoying,
possible.
I don't know.
I think it
there's
is.
no way to make this better.
Josh, do you have anything that stands out to you that you'd like to see us do differently?
Oh,
don't
people
know.
should
I'm
send
just
in
saying,
fuck,
man.
marry,
I'm not-
kill
I'm not-
list for us.
That's a great idea. I like
Do we
that.
want to do that? Do we really
I'm
want to
down.
do that?
I do.
I'm down.
And you're not allowed to look up pictures of us just based on voice alone.
Wait a second. Wait. Time out. Fuck, marry, kill of us?
Yeah.
No. I don't want to do that. No. I'll be dying 1,000 times. I thought you would send in like suggestions for who we should discuss. Lindsay Lohan.
Or we could do it based on
Just
characters.
Lindsay Lohan 3 times.
This is degrading quickly, so
What
yeah.
happened to Lindsay Lohan?
Let's sign off.
yeah.
All right,
It's
everyone.
done.
Thanks for listening, and we'll be back with more fun next time. And take it easy.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.